Alright, YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I'm Neuralex, and today this is going to be a special video. A lot of YouTubers and film critics are doing their 10 best movies of the year, but since I'm not a professional film critic, I did not see every movie that came out this year. So doing a top 10 best for me felt a bit awkward. So instead, I decided to talk about all the movies I saw in theater this year. And yes, I've just realized that I saw all those movies in Imax because I'm such a big fan of Imax. So on that then, here we go. So first movie I'm talking about here is Black Panther. Saw this in theater last February when it came out. It's an overall good movie. I think I didn't like it as much as other people did. It was clearly original in its message and design, and all the African culture that was melted into it. That was really good. The music was amazing by Kendrick Lamar. The overall acting was really good. The characters were nice. The world building was amazing. But in a more negative way, I thought like the overall directing was a bit inconsistent with like great shots like that spinning throne room shot with Killmonger, and compared to that other when he's talking to his father, it's clearly one shot after the other face, and it felt telegraphed. And also the last act of that movie, I didn't really care because like after the casino scene and when they switched the bad guys to just Killmonger, no spoilers here, I felt like I lost interest a bit, and then the end fight with the two Panthers and the bad CGI rhinos, I just didn't care for it. But like, because my favorite scene was actually the casino scene, which was amazing, James Bond style. I thought Killmonger was a really good villain, except I would have toned down his street accent just a little bit. Took me off as like he's a professional killer from the army, but he talks like a guy on the street. It was a bit too much. But overall, it's a good movie. I didn't like it as much as some other people did. I don't think it deserved a Best Picture at the Oscar. But overall, it's a good movie, and I totally understand why some people totally freaked out about it, and it got really good with them. Alright, next up we have Avengers Infinity War. I could say this is probably the most epic superhero movie ever made. Maybe not the best, but definitely the most epic in scale and adventures, and the way that they had so many characters and everybody had their place, and there was so many payoff at the end of the movie. But also the fact that they centered the story around Thanos, which was played marvelously by Josh Brolin, and the idea to center the movie around him was totally genius. So it made like you could actually understand the villain's motivation through that movie. Also, the fact that, spoilers here, that he's winning at the end, also made me at peace with the whole Marvel, because I was really I was a bit disappointed with Black Panther, and also with the final 10 minutes of Civil War, where they just wrapped it up to make it a feel-good ending, even if it, in my opinion, should have been a more tragic, dramatic ending to that movie. But I understand now why they did it. So basically, the main thing about why that movie is so good, the main thing is, yes, they shot it in IMAX, but the main thing is it's an insane project that they just pulled it off. And kudos to the Russo brothers to just do those, like, it's their third movie in a row. I think Winter Soldier might still be my favorite Marvel movies of all time, because that movie is just so perfect in my opinion. But overall, Avengers Infinity War, they nailed it. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in Endgame. And that's another thing where the cliffhanger is so good that you have actually no idea what's going to come up next. So a really good movie. And if you haven't seen Infinity War, why are you even listening to me? Like, whatever. Coming up next, we have Deadpool 2, aka Ryan Reynolds Part 2. I like to say that because like Ryan Reynolds is actually so great and so connected to the Deadpool characters that sometimes when you watch, especially that Deadpool 2, you actually feel like you're actually watching him for real. Anyway, so I thought it was really good. Maybe a bit less funny than the first one, but I thought like the story had more depth and more work to it. Cable, Josh Brolin as Cable is great. He has a perfect chemistry with Reynolds. That like serious, totally not serious Deadpool Cable thing, and I felt his character very grounded. Didn't go too much into his origin, which is good because it leave it place to have his own origin or like own movie. So it's really good. I have to just say the directing for the action is really killer, and it really brought the action to another level, which I wanted from this. The inclusion of the Domino character, which I totally fell in love with, was one of my best thing about that movie. Like watching just Domino being around, not stressed about anything because she's so lucky. I thought like that actress Zazie Beetz really nailed that character, and I almost found her more interesting here in the movie than in the actual comics, which I used to read a lot when I was younger. So I have to say that the baby leg segment was probably the funniest thing from that whole franchise, and the post-credit scene was probably one of the best post-credit scene ever made. So overall, a really good movie, a very decent sequel to the first one. I thought doing a sequel to the first Deadpool, which was a very surprising success, was a really hard task, and they pretty much nailed it. So really good movie overall. Next is the infamous Solo, a Star Wars story. First of all, I thought that movie was really underrated because I saw it in an IMAX and actually had a blast with it. And then when I saw the bad reviews, I actually had a doubt, so I went and saw it again. And after like 10-15 minutes of the movie, I was just like, I don't know why people are bashing that movie so much, because it's a lot of fun. It's a good 80s style adventure, Indiana Jones type of adventure movie set in Star Wars. Alden Heidenreich, if I pronounce his name, is really good in the movie. Like, I didn't understand how people could think like you could like do a young Han Solo better than he actually did. I mean, this casting was great. I really liked him. Like 10 minutes in the movie, I was already in. Woody Harrelson is great as usual. Emilia Clarke and Donald Glover are super charming. And Paul Bettany is a scary and legit villain. I didn't care that much about that ending thing, but the rest was really great. And also I wanted to add, like, when they say Solo, a Star Wars movie, they could have said also Solo and Chewbacca, because all the scenes with Chewbacca in that movies were really good. I really felt it, the way their friendship is built up through that movie. I really felt it, and I really believed it. So overall, I think it got bashed a lot more than it deserved, and it's definitely worth a shot. So for those who didn't see Solo, I actually recommend it. Next up, we have The Incredibles 2. First of all, Pixar rules. Do they do anything wrong? Anyway, that movie looks amazing. Of course, it's a Pixar movie. It's fun, it's emotional, it's clever. And one thing I really like, I saw that movie in theaters, and there was a lot of kids and adults in that movie, and I realized like everybody was laughing at the same jokes. So the humor really goes for everyone, which makes it a perfect family movie. Even if the bad guy reveal was a bit predictable, I thought it was good nonetheless. My favorite thing I think about that movie is the way they use the superpowers for some of the characters. The way they use stretching powers for Elastigirls, I thought was some of the most original stuff I've ever seen in a superhero movie. And that makes me wonder now, why can't they make a good Fantastic Four movie? I mean, this is basically it right now, right there. and they still can't make, like, after three of them, like, they still can't make a good Fantastic Four movie. That makes no sense. So good thing the rights are going back to Feige and Marvel now, because they might actually do something good with it. So overall, Incredibles 2 was amazing. Probably one of the best, if no, I can't say the best animated movie this year, because there's another one coming that I liked a lot more, so I'm talking about next. But Incredibles 2, really good time, really good family movie. You should check it out. Next, we have Ant-Man and the Wasp. I really liked that movie. I thought it was good and non-pretentious fun. A bit generic, but still a fun ride. They had really good ideas of how to do stuff with the shrinking, going giant, being in the middle, type of ideas, the car chases and everything. It was really good ideas in that movie, which made it really interesting. Paul Rudd was super funny as usual. Even thought they made his character a bit dumber in that movie, which I was kind of on it, but still, like, it's Paul Rudd, so he makes it look cool and fun and funny all the time. So even if that movie felt a bit underwhelming after seeing Infinity War, I thought it was really good fun at the movie, really good popcorn movie, and Marvel at that point can't really do any wrong. I think they have this formula and this drive that make their movies, like, even their less interesting movies are very interesting. So another good movie that I actually recommend. It's a good time. Next movie is Mission Impossible Fallout. This came out at the end of July. This might be the best action movie I've ever seen. Definitely one of the best. I think the Mission Impossible franchise is just getting better with each movie. The last three movies were just amazing. So Tom Cruise is spectacular as usual, and I think he might be a bit suicidal, because all the scenes I've seen him do, like, he does, like, it's renowned now that he does all his own stuff and he trains really hard for them. But, like, some of the stunts he does in that movie are just legit scary to look at. I saw that movie in Imax, of course, and when I saw it, there was like 2-3 times when I had legit vertigo watching him go through those stunts. So it was really good. Henry Cavill, even if he's a bit cold in the role, does this really imposing presence, and yes, the mustache rocks in that movie. The directing from Macquarie is top notch. Like, you really understand everything about his movie, and that makes me wonder, should he do a superhero movie next? Because the way he shoots action is so good. Him do it with in a superhero environment could be really his next step in this blockbuster directing thing. But overall, it's more than good. It's actually a great movie. I loved it. I loved every second of it. The pacing was good and everything. Tons of action, and it's definitely one of my must-see movie on my list this year. So you should check it out. Next on the list, we have Venom. Venom is not a good movie. It's bad in a lot of ways, but the thing about that movie is Tom Hardy is hilarious in that movie. Like, even if that movie is really bad, you could feel that he was so invested on doing the role of both Eddie Brock and Venom, and he had a great time doing it. And he's hilarious in a lot of scenes. And I think somewhere down the line they wanted to make a R-rated movie with the success of Logan and Deadpool, and somewhere down the line they realized that Tom Hardy was so funny and so out of this world with that character, so they centered the movie around that and made it a PG-13. I think it could have used an R rating for the violence that could have been more exploited in that movie. It wouldn't have feel out of place, but overall, I think it's, even if it's bad, it's such a fun ride, and I had so much fun with it. If it makes sense, like I said, by the end of that movie, I didn't even care about the final fight between the two symbiotes. Like I didn't even care. Like that whole movie for me was the chemistry between Eddie Brock and Venom, which was a total blast. So for that alone, you should totally see the Venom movie. Next, we have Bohemian Rhapsody. This is a movie directed by Bryan Singer. I know there was some controversy, like he was fired in the last like 2 weeks of shooting, but he still directed that movie, which was really good. Like the directing, some shots of that movie, just when he's a Live Aid and just before he plays on the piano, the reflection on the piano of his face, I thought was gorgeous. So it's gorgeous on so many levels. Rami Malek was great as Freddie Mercury. I think that's probably one of the most impossible job to do, to imitate that guy, but he nailed it. Of course the music in that movie is great because it's all Queen music, and I love Queen. So after seeing that movie, I had like some Queen songs in my head for about like a month. So it just revived my love for that movie, and that's one of the things I like. It brings Queen to a new generation and reminds us, people who used to listen to Queen a lot, that why we're listening and why that movie is so great. Like, I understand some of the bad critics of that movie who said that they wanted that movie to concentrate more on the hardcore party lifestyle of Freddie Mercury and everything, but they hint in those things enough in that movie so you understand, but you can still bring a kid with you to that movie and make him discover how great the Freddie Mercury was as a performer. And for me, that's where the movie was great, because that's what I wanted to see, actually. The songs, the performing, the why they were so good. So overall, I love that movie and I would recommend it to everybody. Next up, we have Spider-Man Into the Spiderverse. This is legit one of the best movie I saw this year. It's good on so many levels. The animation is amazing and fresh and original. The character and the voice acting for those characters is crazy as well. It might be the best Spider-Man movie ever made. It's right there with the Spider-Man 2 and Homecoming for sure, if it's not the best. I really like how it introduces us to the fact that you don't actually need Peter Parker to be a main character in a Spider-Man movie. There's a lot of Spider-Man that you can exploit, and Miles Morales is a great character, and I think it fits for a new generation to see him in a movie. So overall, that movie is just wonderful on so many levels. I could do a whole video about it, but like, you should totally see that movie while it's still in theater. Like, it might be the best superhero movie that came out this year, like with Infinity War for sure. So if you haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, just run through the theaters while it's still there and just enjoy the show, because it is, pun intended, amazing. And the final movie I saw in theater this year was Aquaman, a new movie from the DCEU, Warner Brother, DC Universe. I don't even know how to call that anymore. Me and my friend Paul Blaze, we did a whole spoiler discussion which lasts about an hour on it, so you can check it out on my channel. Basically, it's a fairly good movie. It has great CGI, some of the best I've seen this year. A great world building. The designs are great. The costumes are great. Jason Momoa looks like he's having the time of his life, and it shows. He has great charisma through the entire movie, and he looks badass when he needs to look badass. So that movie has some of the best action shots I've seen this year, with Mission Impossible Fallout. definitely some of the best action shot I saw in a superhero movie this year, and there was a lot of good action in superhero movie this year. So, but the thing is, the script is kind of poor, the dialogues are super cheesy, the love story is generic. I mean, that movie was really ambitious in scale. I really like they tried to do the whole Throne of Atlantis storyline from the comic book in one movie, so it feels a bit overpacked, but like it's a good time in the movie overall, just for the visuals alone, and I would still recommend it in IMAX, of course. So it was still a good movie. Like with all its flaws, it was still a good movie. So I still recommend it. Alright people, so that was the list of all the movies I saw in 2018 in the theater. I all saw them in IMAX. So overall, I would like to say it was a pretty fun, really good blockbuster year. This year, I enjoyed most of what I saw in theater. I don't have all the time in the world, so I'm a bit picky when I choose which movies I'm going to see. But if I like it, I see it like another time, and sometimes 3. And in the case of Infinity War, I saw it actually 5 times. So yeah, so overall it was a really good time in the movies this year. I feel like I'm really due for a new Christopher Nolan or Denis Villeneuve movie. I know Villeneuve is working on Dune. I don't know what Nolan is doing right now, but he should come out with a project soon, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, it was a good year overall for movies. I really enjoyed myself, ate a lot, way too much popcorn actually, so it was really good. So for those who are new to my channel, well, welcome. Don't be shy to subscribe and follow me. I'm just starting at this, but coming up next year, I'm gonna do a lot more videos, movie reviews, trailer reaction, and I'll eventually I have this podcast that I'm setting up, which should come out pretty soon also. So a lot of project coming up for next year. Actually, I was supposed to start this channel next year, but I just started early for practice, and I'm just enjoying this too much. So you're gonna see a lot more of those coming up in the next year. So on this, my name is Neuralex. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. And until then, stay safe.